growing up was a whole chain of flogging from different segments, right? You go to school. I remember in primary 6 one time, right? I had a teacher whose pride was in his canes. The understanding back then was, if you love your kids, you beat them. Do not.
Right. There's always, if you're constantly afraid of your parents because you're afraid they might lash out or throw something at you, it's not very healthy. You won't be able to approach them in the future to tell them very serious issues. And a lot. Hello everyone, and welcome to Sofa Convos. Here we talk about problems, root causes, and their solutions. I'm a new face here, but I've always been behind the scenes. My name's Anthonia, and I will be interviewing our guest on the sofa today. So today we'll be talking about corporal punishment in African Caribbean homes. I have my lovely guest next to me, Vincent. Vincent, would you mind introducing yourself a little bit?
I'm Vincent. I'm a banker with ATB Financial. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Where are you from?
I'm from Nigeria.
Awesome. So am I. And welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, sure. Thanks.
All right. So as I mentioned, we'll be talking a little bit about corporal punishment. Now, what is corporal punishment? I have my handy dandy Google here. And corporal punishment is defined as physical punishment, such as caning or flogging. Now, of course, you can go into a whole list of other forms of physical abuse that can be termed under the umbrella corporal punishment. So, Vincent, I'll start with my list of questions. How commonplace is corporal punishment in African households?
It's pretty common. I'd say most people who grew up in African households have been caned or corporally punished at one time or the other, right? And it has, I would say, focus has shifted from, typical, any small thing you do, you get caned for. Now it's more subtle.
Times two. Yeah.
It was like a community agreement to be corporally punished as a growing up mechanism. So that happened a lot.
Yeah. So it was very common to be punished outside of just your parents' school in general.
Oh, yes, for sure.
So, looking at the punishment received or given by parents, do you think it was coming from a place of love?
Yes, it actually was. So the understanding back then was, if you love your kids, you beat them. Do not, what was that saying? Spare the rod and spoil the child. Right?
Every Nigerian parent's favorite Bible verse.
And it was so ingrained in everyone that if you were going to school, if they were dropping you off, if they're ever picking a school for you, part of the things they check is, do they flog in that school? They meet the principal and they're like, how do you guys enforce discipline here? If they flog and they're like, oh, okay, that was good. Take care of my son, I'm donating him to you.
Right.
Make sure you flog him if he messes up. So I'm going to go as far as telling the teachers, if he messes up, feel free to flog him. Give me a call.
Yeah. Did you think this, or do you find that this is effective in the short term, and do you find that it's effective in the long term to help children correct their actions and behaviors?
I'd say yes and no.
Okay.
It was effective to me.
Okay.
For a bit, right? Because I think everything needs like a balance, right? A check. And then people are different, which was what I realized, right? I'd use myself as an example, right? If I get flogged for something, I most likely wouldn't do it again.
Right.
Just to avoid being flogged for that thing. So it helped for a while.
Yeah.
Now I had some friends who, once they get flogged, they just blank out that, oh, okay, so you flogged me for this thing, right?
Right.
I'll just go and do it again.
Oh, wow.
And then I know that since I've chopped cane for doing this thing before, I won't mind doing it again since you flogged me anyway. So people have different reception to pain and being flogged, right? So I think it varies per se.
Okay, so I think it's interesting because a lot of times in the immediate circumstance, it's appropriate to correct the child or whomever it is, not necessarily by corporal punishment, mind you, but if you do wait till later, like for example, you'll be out of your house, your mom will say, or you'll do something and your mom will say, wait till we get home.
Exactly.
Now, not only will you have to deal with the flogging when you get home,
trauma.
the fear in your spirit.
You just be thinking.
As in, you won't be able to eat. If you're at a party, you won't eat
I'm telling
anything.
you.
Your friend will say, come, let's go and do something.
You're like,
Like, no, I'm okay. I find that a lot of the fear and trauma that surrounds corporal punishment is something that seriously affects the relationship between a parent and the child being beaten, right? There's always, if you're constantly afraid of your parent because you're afraid they might lash out or throw something at you, it's not very healthy. You won't be able to approach them in the future to tell them very serious issues. And a lot of the times, this lack of trust and a solid foundation of that relationship is what leads children into trouble in the future.
Yeah.
Do you think African or Nigerian parents, Caribbean parents are very aware of that?
But I'd say at different stages in life, they just feel like that's what they have to do. Because of two reasons, right? One, that's how they were brought up.
Absolutely.
So that's what they understand as love.
Right.
I mean, the ones that are more open and more, open to opportunities would do things in a different way, or do like the blended, format, right? Where they flog you and then they bring you close.
Right.
What also helps is having parents who are different somewhat. What helped me? I mean, my dad was the flogger. My mom was the cool one.
Yeah.
So yeah, you had the dad who was flogging you most of the time, anytime you mess up, right? And he was strict. And he didn't care. He'd flog you and then, you can go and cry and carry face.
Yeah.
When he's ready for you, he'll call you back and tell you what to do and all that. Right? He's not bothered.
Yeah.
Then your mom, on the other hand, was warm. She'd be like, oh, okay, come, sorry, nurture you. So you had the strict dad and the sweet mom.
Right.
So yeah, it sort of helped, gave that balance, when you grow up. But you don't see it that way when you're little and then in that scenario, right? But when you grow up, you see like, this is what helps someone, so for sure.
All right, so 2 hot fire questions. First one, at what age do you think it's appropriate to stop beating or flogging or using corporal punishments to discipline your child?
That's very dicey. Well, I feel like it's an individual thing, right? I do not believe in corporal punishment anymore.
Okay.
That does not mean I feel it was wrong when it was used back then.
Okay.
I just feel times have changed.
Absolutely.
And now that we know better, there are more effective ways of correcting a child.
I definitely agree.
So you don't necessarily need a cane.
Right.
So I'd say, depends on what works, right?
Right.
I've met people who I personally want to flog because dialogue does not work. Wait,
are these grown adults or are these like younger children?
Grown adults.
Oh, jeez.
That's one side, right? I've also met people who I feel like the way they are messing up now is because they were not flogged when they were younger. So they didn't have that inbuilt cane that they chopped.
Yeah.
So that's why they are making some bad decisions now, messing up, right?
That's
But
fair.
it's also subjective then. That was our time, right? When that was the norm.
Yeah.
Now that things are changing, there are better ways to correct.
So last question for this first portion. What are some of the psychological effects of corporal punishment? Receiving beatings from parents, from older family members, from school teachers?
Well, it's a lot and it varies, right? Depending on the individual that was flogged. Back then, most of the bullies I knew could handle corporal punishment very well.
Right.
So it was a form of, handling their pain or discharging pain to other people, right? So it has very bad effects to different people.
Yeah. So looking at the effect of corporal punishment on an individual's adult life, I'll reference a video that Dima Umer posted on her YouTube channel about a month ago now. So she discussed discipline by African parents, and I was scrolling through the comment section. One particular comment caught my eye. This lady had disclosed that when she was younger, if either she or her siblings misbehaved during the day, her father would wait until 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. to come and flog them in the middle of the night, and they would wake up to being flogged by their dad.
Wow.
And so this was so alarming to me, but what was even more surprising is that she continued to say that even as a married woman in her husband's house with children, she wakes up randomly between 1 a.m. to 3 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
because she's panicked and worried that somebody's going to come and beat her that strong.
Exactly.
And it's highly problematic.
For sure.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. So watch out for part 2, where we'll be talking a little bit about how to break the cycle that perpetuates corporal punishment. How can we deal with these traumas? Stay tuned.